Mhm. Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to today's program with me, will be your host, Babo Shir. I'm personally is excited to have this program with you. But before we go into the program, I want to apologize for coming on late. We're having small technical problem, but it's fixed. So please bear with us. But before we start the program, please go invite your friends. This is a very unique and very important topic that you don't want to miss. Invite your friends, tag your friends, and join us. And thank you very much once again as you're coming in. My name is Babu Shira, and today's guest is Sonny Achi. Hello, Mr. Sonny. I'm awesome. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I myself personally, I'm happy to have you here. And I know we're a little bit late, so I think we should just get into the topic of today. So, before we go into the topic of today, please can you tell our viewers who is Sonny Achi?
Um,
Can you please move to the center of your screen so we can see you fully? A bit, just no, 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 just to the other side, to the left, a bit. Okay, yes, this is good.
okay, just hang on. Am I good like this?
More, more. Yes, yes. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
My name is Sonny Uche. I am a Nigerian originally. I my main skills in media are researching, news gathering, content writing, screenwriting and development, blogging, and photography with great storytelling ability. And I've worked as a freelance script. I've done freelance script writing for a long time and worked as a producer, taking on subcontracting works and creative ghostwriting for numerous African and UK and US based independent studios. I actually started my career in my home country back in Nigeria as a videotape editor. Actually, that was how I started. I mean, working in a television station, and then working as an MCR operator. During live broadcast. But then I ultimately decided to go abroad to seek advanced knowledge and pursue a career in media.
Okay.
And then there I spent years training and subsequently writing, developing television programs for African and American and British-based networks. I mean, while again taking on non-professional jobs at tough times when needed work become insufficient, you know. But along the line, something happened because I hit a solid wall, a very strong obstacle in my field, you know, because um, you see, back then I had this deep and strong Northern Nigerian accent when pitching. When pitching to producers in English, and it was really, really embarrassing and hard to talk my way into contract. Yeah, you know, because most of it you have Americans and British speakers who, that would just not understand me because of my deep Hausa or Igala accent,
Right.
you know. Yeah, you know. Then again, I had to start learning something new again, and I had to fork out thousands of dollars to take another hours and hours of American English pronunciation training to learn how to speak basic American English, you know. So Well, that's not well. Apart from that, I've written numerous books that were published between 2006 and 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
that's what I could say about it for now.
Okay. Thank you. I think we still can't see the full of your face. You still need to move a bit to the. I don't know if you can see your screen yourself. Okay, it's much better now. Yes, but you still need to
Okay.
move to the. Is it? I don't know if it's to the left. Just a bit.
I
Not.
this way.
Yes. 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 This is good now.
Okay. The thing is, I don't have a monitor. I can't see nothing.
Okay, it's okay. Now you're good. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, thank you very much for the introduction. Let's move forward to the topic. Why are we discussing this topic today with you? Why this topic? Why no other any other topic? Why this topic? Which, by the way, can you
Uh,
tell us, please, what the topic is?
well, I think what I think what we talked about was you asked me why should black people know their history. I think that is what I think that is what we're actually talking about here today.
Right.
Am I correct? Yeah, yes, I think so. Yeah, because I thought I think I sort of question where I think I thought you said why should black people know their history? Am I correct?
Before we go into that, why the topic? The topic is Black Biblically History
Yes,
Untold. Yes.
yeah.
So, why do you think this topic is important for us to discuss today?
I think it is very important that that black people get to know their history. It
Okay.
is very important, and then women especially because there are just so many misconceptions out there
Hmm.
that we really have to take care of because this all these misconceptions have actually held us down for a very very long time you know. And so when we talked about this, I go like, yeah, it is important. I have delved in Asian and classical history for many, many years. And I think it's time we start talking about this to brothers and sisters out there who do not really know, I mean, Black history, especially the roles, vital roles that Black people actually played in biblical stories.
Right.
It's when you watch Hollywood movies or some certain documentaries, or when you see the way that news are portrayed about Egypt on television, it does not really give us our own credit that we deserve, you know. And I think that it's because we have failed to tell our own story,
Hmm.
you know, in its originality. So, and I think yeah, I'm really honored that I'm gonna have the chance to actually say this out to people out there who, yeah, who who are gonna be interested because there's a lot of things that have not been said for years. They are not talked about in the church, and it is very important we talk about them, and then we have to talk about our scriptures that are not actually in the Bible, scriptures that were actually in the Bible originally
Hmm.
when it was canonized after Christianity was officiated in 325 CE, as approved by Emperor Constantine during the Council of Nicaea. But then we have a problem down the line where some other books were actually taken out of the Bible as well. These are books that actually give us credit, and books that actually empower women as well, like the books of Mary Magdalene. You know, that has been taken out of. That is not. In the canon, we have books like we have like the book of Esdras. I always talk about the book of Ezra that actually that actually give full details of the migratory route um, that the true Israelis actually took when they were taken into captivity, but between around by the Assyrian and the Babylonian, and how they were able to actually come together to escape, and how they fled to Africa. And then we have another episode in the year 70 CE when the Romans actually finally destroyed Jerusalem, where hundreds of thousands of black Hebrews were actually taken to Rome into slavery. But then we now have a situation here where a lot of them actually fled into Africa. This, you have to be a historian to actually know this, but but even many Africans don't even know about this. They don't really know. Um, I mean, the history of the Holy Land. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. All right.
Yeah.
So I believe you're giving us the introduction of the untold story about black people in the Bible, correct?
Exactly. And I'm actually going to be touching base on the castration of the empowerment of women in the church as well.
Okay.
I am a man. I hold my hand up, to go, yes, I know the secret and I'm going to let it out. I am going to let it out fully because, you see, when it saddens me when I see that women, when it comes to women, I'm talking about women from all walks of life, but black women, white women, Latino, all over Asian or whatever, we have been so selfish. We have falsified history over and over and over, you know. But then the truth is going to come out, okay? Women are not meant to be beneath men the way that we put it, because from the beginning, like from the book of Genesis, you can see where the platform has been staged, you know, a woman, out of Adam, and then you now have this misogynistic argument blaming the woman for the downfall of man. That is totally wrong. So, like I say, you see, when I criticize some certain things in the Bible, I am not criticizing the Holy Scripture. The King James Version is a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of the original.
Okay.
So we now have to, you see, because see, I have to take you into the BCE and then bring you back to the CE, back and forth, for you to be able to comprehend what I'm talking about here. Because if I really have to give you biblical history, then I thought this I'm going to do, we're going to have to look at biblical literature, and then we're going to have to look at historical facts. Scholars always say that they were not compatible, but I am a man of faith, and the thing here is, I know the histories in the Bible that I could pull out and get historical facts to back that up. But then, in a way that we have to be academically correct.
Okay.
The woman should not be blamed for the downfall of man, because what do we preach in the church today? We always preach total depravity, and then we preach salvation and reunion. Okay, but please let's leave the woman out and let's leave the serpent out, because if we have got to be honest here, it is the man that has brought misery to the woman. If you want us to look at the scripture accurately, Eve is not responsible. Eve should not be held responsible for the downfall of Adam, but we can say that Adam should be held responsible for the downfall of Eve.
Okay. How?
Yeah. But then, but here you see, because I'm trying to correct this misogynistic
Well, I think,
argument here.
Sonny, I think you should clarify that question, what you just said. Because from what we
Okay.
know, that Eve is the person that is responsible for the downfall of Adam, which result to the downfall of mankind. So if you're saying it's the other way around, can you please clarify how that is possible, that it's Adam that is the that caused the downfall of Eve or mankind?
Okay. Let me say this. Let me say this. Let me say this. I am going to be blunt here.
Please go ahead.
Now, okay. What I'm going to say here is, look, see, um, before we go, before we look into the scripture,
Mm-hmm.
I want to clarify one thing here, because let me just prove my point here. I said that Eve should not be blamed for the downfall of Adam.
Okay.
Rather, Adam should be blamed for the downfall of Eve, right?
Okay.
Because what I'm saying, yeah, because I mean, what I'm trying to say here is, let me see, I'm trying to be careful here. If we should look back into the papyrus scrolls,
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about an ancient Egyptian writing here now. Okay, well, back even before we talk about
Um,
this, you know.
Sonny, sorry to interrupt you. You're moving away from the center of your screen. Can you? Yes, please.
What you should, I don't.
Yes.
Okay, just hold on. Let me try something.
Yes.
Is this any better?
Yes. Yes. This is good.
Okay. Okay. Can I go on now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Like I was saying, I said, if we have to look into the papyrus scrolls where the Bible was actually copied from in the first place, one will be able to prove that the story has been told in reverse.
Okay.
Okay? Man, selfish man have reinterpreted. I wrote this a little while on my social media wall to say men have reinterpreted the scripture in a manner to suit their own desires, with streams of expressive styles about the requirement for inequality, okay,
Okay.
as a correct way to rule the world. We actually see that in racism as well, where you have one color of people should rule above the others, and then the educated should always be there before the uneducated. And then, above all, what we're talking about here now, okay, the woman must be beneath a man or her husband. Now, when we look at this, when we look at this whole thing before, like I said earlier, like from the papyrus scroll, right? When you read when you read books written by people like, Dr. Ben Yochanan, it is clear here that in the beginning, before all this, right, we already had this concept where human had earlier implanted this concept of God, the mother. Okay?
Okay.
Not God the Father, as we believe today. That was how it was in the text, okay? That will end up that will actually end up later on end up inspiring Judaism and Christianity and Islam, okay?
Okay.
Because the concept here is a man comes out of a woman. God made a woman in her own image. And out of the woman came forth, okay, a helpmate, a man. Now, that is credible, because if we look at biological reality of human reproductive circles, circle, that is credible, okay?
Okay.
Now, yeah, so, and that's why I said Eve. Eve should not be blamed for all the trouble a man goes through today, as written by, as well as written in the book of Genesis by, was Rabbi Agrippa and Rabbi Hillel, okay? That's we see in the book of Genesis, okay? But it is the man that became a disappointment to the woman. The man brought trouble and heartache to the woman, not the other way around. So here now, people are gonna want to talk about the snake now. Let's leave the snake out of this for now, okay? A man has always been that snake that a woman can never trust, not the other way around. Let's admit it. I'm a man. I admit that, okay? The woman from the beginning of creation was fine on her own with the capability of reproducing another human. A man cannot do that. I don't know, is it registering? Well, okay, let me clarify that, okay?
Yes,
A
please.
woman, a woman can mother a child. This is scientific fact now. A woman can mother a child without the help of a man.
How?
Where
How can she do that?
have you heard of? I mean, have you heard of? Immaculate conception,
Yes.
virgin birth.
Yes.
Okay. Apart from that of Mary, the mother of Jesus. Okay. We also have historical writings actually backing that as well. Again, if you look into science, that is credible. But a man can never ever do that. Okay? It's okay. Look at this. Okay, you did biology when you were in your high school, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, you know that. The fetus, what in utero? I'm talking about. What in the womb? Okay,
Right.
starts off with a genital of a female. Every fetus. Okay, check that scientifically. Okay, that it ends up remaining as a female. Okay, as an embryo, and later as an infant, or while back in the baby, or it ends up developing into a male, but it never starts the other way round. Do you get my point here now?
Yeah.
You start in your mother's womb as a female. Every one of us, we start as a female. As we go on, the female assignment, okay, and if we are now destined to be male, that is when it starts like taking form. I'm just trying to keep it, I'm just trying. I don't want to say some certain words here, but you don't want to talk about a gender assignment. You know what I'm talking about here, and then that transforms later on. You see, when we view the downfall of man as a fault of, we don't view the downfall of man as a fault of a woman. You see, because the Egyptian history on Shishtar has been tampered with and changed by male chauvinists in Genesis, okay?
Mm.
And let me go. Let me go off. Let me go off the Bible for a while here now. When you look at history, you see the foundation when we talk about deities like goddess Nut and goddess Mut. Okay.
Mm.
But the thing here is that Hollywood movie has changed all this, and that is what you see. It's all left for Black people to actually read books and do their own research, and not just sit back there and just watch movies. You know, that's why I could stop for now. I don't know.
So, are you trying to connect what you're trying to say now to you being a producer and a writer? As in, is it something that you've come across? Is it something you've worked with? Is it something you've seen?
No, you see, I once said to DSA, when I look, I mean, biblical history is something that has always fascinated me since I was a child. You know, I have looked at all this, the story of David and Goliath, Adam and Eve. But as I grew up, I wanted to have a better understanding. And then, having worked in the field, having worked in television as a researcher, gathering, contents for documentaries and others, I was able to explore this field, and I was able to actually study Asian and classical history deeply to be able to understand this perfectly. And that's why I say, you see, I like to tell biblical history in a way where I go to the source.
Okay.
Give me a story from the Bible, and I will give you a historical backend to corroborate that story. Because you see, so it's like I'm always like in the middle. You got scholars who's like, no, Sonny, that story is not real. I'll be like, no, it existed. Okay, it happened, but the only thing is we have to look at historical record, okay, and look at the original scripture. No one is perfect. When you have to translate the scripture from Aramaic to Greek, and then from Greek to Latin, and then from Latin to English.
Okay.
There was bound to be a mistake somewhere. Nobody is perfect.
Okay.
And that is why I keep saying to people, go back to the original scripture. Because the King James Version only came into circulation in 1611, 1,611 years after the cross. Do you get my point here now? So you don't expect to get everything in there. And we know very, very well that a lot of books did not make it into the canon that we have in the church today. And apart from that, another 27 books were actually taken out of it again, bringing it down to, we have 66 books today. If you go to Ethiopia today, they still have the 88 books. Have you ever heard of the book of Esdras? I believe you haven't, because it's not in the canon. The book of Maccabee? No. A lot of them. I will recommend the Apocrypha to Christians. Go into the Apocrypha and you see most of these books. And there are actually some that never make it to the Apocrypha, but they will enlighten you, and then you'll be able to actually connect all the missing dots.
Okay.
It's not that hard. Yeah, they are actually all there. So when somebody says to you that, no, the Bible is not complete, there's a contradiction between Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, and I thought to them, go look into the Mishnah. Because how can you say that God created he and she, and then only to realize in Genesis 2 that it is not good for the man to be alone. So you look into the Mishnah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just like I've said earlier, it's not about the Bible being incomplete. The problem lies with translation, and the missing piece of the puzzle can always be found if you look into history.
Far, you're trying to take us through a journey, and I believe people are already expecting. Even me, I want to know if you can give us proof of all what you are saying, because you're saying something new, which I believe people are curious. I'm curious myself. So please, can we have your facts of all you've been saying so far, so we can really understand why we're here, why we're talking about this topic with you?
Sister B, it's not it's okay. Well, I think to you, you might say it is something new because it is not talked about in the church. But it is important that Christians know this.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So yeah, it is not new. I mean, this is an issue that has been going on, okay, from day one. Because if you see, if you go back, where did the trouble actually start? Before Christianity was officiated in the year 325 CE, okay,
Okay.
all the scriptures were there, but there was just, they just have they just had to sit back there and select as many as they can put in the canon, you know, the Pentateuch, which is, the five books of Moses, and then the book of the prophets. But you have more books of the prophets that are probably done back into the canon, okay? And then in the New Testament, you have the Gospel of Mark and Matthew. If I have to arrange them, accordingly. But in the Bible, where you have Matthew and Mark, but she's actually historically it's Mark before Matthew, and then you have Luke and John, and then you have tons and tons and tons of letters of Apostle Paul in there. But then, as a Christian, you should know that there are still more books out there that are not in the canon. And there was nothing wrong in going out to read those books.
Okay, so how can we find this missing pages or missing book that you're talking about or missing facts?
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. You can look into the Apocrypha. It's Apocrypha, Apocrypha.
Apart-
In there, in the Apocrypha, there are still some other books that are not making it in there. You still have the Dead Sea Scrolls, and then you still have some other books. It's like in the Nag Hammadi Library. There are some new books that were actually discovered in the desert of Egypt after the Second World War in 1945. And among those books, guess what book they found? The book of Mary Magdalene. Does that name ring bell? Mary Magdalene?
Yeah.
Yeah. You see, so why would anybody not want to read the book of Mary Magdalene? You see, and then you have the Gospel of Thomas as well. And the Gospel of Thomas is one book that actually is one scripture that fascinates me, because when you read that book, it got translated word for word, and in the beginning it says that these are the words of the living Jesus to Thomas.
Okay.
That is like,
Okay, Sonny.
yeah,
I believe for you to be saying what you're saying, I believe you've read these missing books, right?
over the years, yeah.
So can you give us facts? Can you give us points or things that you've discovered from this book? Can you just help us so we can understand the journey?
If you look at it's like if you look at the Gospel of Thomas and you read and then as a black person,
Okay.
if you are a black person in Africa, I would recommend reading the book of Esdras, 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 the first book and the second book.
Okay.
It will open your eyes. You will get to learn a lot of things.
Okay.
And then read the book of Enoch.
Enoch. Okay.
Now, yeah, you see, the book of Enoch is not in the canon, in the Bible that we have in the church. But the Bible talks about Enoch in the book of Genesis, telling us that Enoch actually walked with God. And then the Bible ends up going silent on that, okay? But then we now have the book of, this is actually credible. This has been checked, it's been carbon dated, and it has been actually, it has passed as authentic. Enoch, if you read the book of Enoch about all his visions and all the revelations to him, and then read, okay, and then read the I talked about the Gospel of Thomas, right? Because you see, with the Gospel of Thomas, you have this very, 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 very um, 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 deep saying from Yeshua himself to Thomas.
Okay,
And
Sonny, you said one of the books that is missing and that you have read is the Book of Thomas. Is that correct?
the book of Thomas, the book of Esther, the book of Maccabees, the book
Okay,
of Enoch.
okay. Let's just
Yeah.
speak the Book of Thomas that you've read. Is that correct? You've
Okay.
read, yeah. So, can you tell us what is it that is written in the Book of Thomas that have been removed? That is a black history that have been removed in the Bible that we need to know and that can help us today as a black race.
Okay, if you want to talk about scriptures, about black history, I'm going to go to that. But you see, now that you talk about the book of Thomas, let me show you something. I have a copy of the Apocrypha. I have a copy of that here. And now listen. Now listen to this. Are you listening here?
I'm listening.
Okay. Now this, I'm just going to read just a few. I'm just going to read just. Let me just read about maybe 3 or 4 verses from the very first chapter of the book of Thomas.
Okay.
And it says here, okay. Chapter 1, from the very first verse. And he said, whoever finds the meaning of these words will not taste death. Okay?
Okay.
And Yeshua says, that's Jesus, okay? Yeshua says, the one who seeks should not seek it until he finds. And when he finds, he will be dismayed. And when he is dismayed, he will be astonished. And he will be king over all. Okay?
Okay.
If those who lead you say to you, look, the kingdom of the Father is in the sky, then the birds of the sky will precede you. And then he goes on to say, if they say to you, the kingdom of the Father is in the sea, then the fishes will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside and outside of you. Okay? This is going to get interesting now. When you come to know yourself, okay? This is what I want to tell my fellow African brothers and sisters. When you come to know yourself, then you will be known. And you will realize that you are the children of the living Father. And then I'm going to end it with verse 5 here, okay? And I hope this will resonate with everybody. But if you do not come to know yourself, then you will remain in poverty, and you are the cause of your poverty. Do you want to say that again? Verse 5?
Please.
If you, this is Jesus talking here now, okay? In the book of Thomas. This is not in the Bible. But if you do not come to know yourself, then you will remain in poverty. And you are the cause of your poverty. What does that tell you? I mean, does that not kind of like resonate with you? And then you see, you have 114 sayings in the Gospel of Thomas. Very, very insightful. And then the second book, another book that I actually love is the book of Esther, because in the book of Esther, okay, you now have a clearer picture of what transpired when the 10 tribes were actually captured by the Assyrian kingdom and taken into captivity and all the way to Babylon. And it goes on to talk about a story about those who escaped, how they crossed the Euphrates rivers and made their way for 1.5 years heading southwest. until they settled in a place called Azareth. And then if you go to a book, now you want to read a book titled From Babylon to Timbuktu, okay? And then in that book, there was a page in that book where it actually talks about tribes in Nigeria and in Cameroon, okay?
Okay.
That subconsciously, until this very day, still hold on to that tradition that has always been maintained after Abraham had covenant with the divine, with a divine intelligence. You know, there was a covenant where he has got to circumcise everyone in his house, okay? And it goes about, you see, you want to read that book, and then and then there's another book you want to read, titled Hebrewism of West Africa. This book was actually published in 1931. And when you read those books, you read the Bible, and you read history books, and then you can have a better understanding. It's not just about reading the Bible. You see, the Holy Scripture holds a lot of secrets. They actually code it, but you have to look into history to actually unlock those secrets. And that is what I'm saying to my fellow Africans: read books, do research, and you will find. There are a lot of things about ourselves that we don't know. We are very, very special people, and when we look into history, we will come to understand that we are not the cheapest human beings on earth, like we have been labeled. We are special people. We are spiritual people by nature, and it comes from our ancestors. Okay? We have to understand that. And I am going to say this point blank, okay, that forget about Hollywood movies, okay? Forget about a CCB meal or 10 Commandments. Forget about the Jesus of Nazareth or Samson of Delilah. What I'm saying here is that if you want to talk about the 10 tribes of Israel and the 2 tribes from Judea that were actually sacked from that land, they are in Africa. They are in Nigeria. They are in Cameroon. They are in Ghana. They are in Kenya. Some of them are in South Africa. I have spent the last years looking at all this, and I will challenge any scholar, and I will prove it. I don't have a quarrel with what is happening in. I'm not having a quarrel with what is happening in Palestine today. I don't want to go there, okay?
Sonny,
But I read an article once.
Sonny, is it possible you're trying to say that we as Africans that don't one of the reason why we are poor is because we don't know our history, we don't know who we are? Is it possible?
Exactly. You see, a man once says that when you believe a lie about yourself, you have destroyed yourself. You know? But when you get to know history, when you get to know your history, you will rise above that. Because you see, I used to be one of those black people who used to have this low self-esteem.
Okay.
But that is because you see, when you don't know your history, you always feel low. Okay? It's like a woman sits right there and go, well, you know one thing, God, I have to accept it. God has cursed me. So I have to feel pain when during childbirth. I have to, my desire has got to be only to my husband. I have to be within my husband. No, you are better than that. You are better than that. It's all about looking at it logically. You see, the way things are today, okay, is, you see, the lie has become a truth. the lie has become the truth, and the truth has become a lie. North is south, okay, and east is west, up is down. That is the reality. That is what is going on today. Everything, history has been told in reverse. And that is why I like, there was a man called, Oscar Wilde. I don't know if you've ever heard of Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde said something. Oscar Wilde said, the only thing that we owe to history is to retell it truthfully.
Okay.
And I just hope that I can have that platform to be able to actually give details, okay? To actually elaborate, the history of Black people in the Bible, in the Holy Scripture, okay? And and then ask me for any proof. I would back them all up with historical facts.
Okay, Sonny, how can you help a normal average Nigerian, let's take it home, to understand what you're trying to say? Because you are a Nigerian in diaspora, and as you know, what is going on back home, there is a lot going on. A lot is going on, which I don't know how often you go home, but how do you think?
I'll go home a lot, yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. So I'm trying to take this home, right? I'm not just, I don't want us to end, trying to just talk about this. Let's make it practical, right? For a normal, average, even lower than average Nigerian to be able to, get this message first, to be able to understand this message, and to be able to even use it to help himself. How is that possible? Because it's almost impossible. First of all, let's even start with the data that if you're in diaspora and you're trying to talk about what you're talking about now, he might not even get the message. Let's start with. But if it's possible that you happen to be in Nigeria and you happen to, talk about what you're talking about now, how Africans can be better people by knowing their history. How can you do that? How can you take this home? How can you help this low, or average or low Nigerian, normal Nigerian, to understand this message and be able to use it to help him or herself?
I think, I like that question. You just, you know what? You just gave me a good idea now. Because if I should be in maybe in Nigeria or Ghana or in Cameroon, wherever, and I have the chance to probably give a speech, maybe probably, in a hall, maybe or in a theater or whatever, to actually address the crowd, I think what I would like to do is to make them understand that they need to wake up and know their roots, know their history, okay?
And mind you, Nigerians, or should I say Africans, don't like reading. Just so you know, just to put that at the back of your mind.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well, it's okay. At least, I've worked in the media for years. I can stand on the stage and actually give them, and actually deliver speech that will actually, trigger, to actually, jolt their subconsciousness to actually, wake them up. Because you see, they, when they get to know that, like I said earlier, that they are not the lowest of human on earth, then what we have to do is get them to start loving themselves. If you don't love yourself, the love that you have for somebody else is meaningless. They have got to love themselves and stop, and start. And then with that, and with such unity, we will now have a situation where we can now stand on our own and build an Africa, okay, an Africa that will earn that global respect. Just like when you look at the history of Taiwan, when you look at the history of China, okay? Just within the last 3 decades, taking over 80 million people out of poverty, just like that. And then look at the history of Singapore and other and other Asian, um, 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 nations. But to achieve that, when I have to go back to that scripture I told you about in the book of Thomas, okay, where it says that you have got to know yourself first, because if you do not know yourself, you will remain in poverty, and that poverty is your fault. You are responsible for your own poverty. You know, so these are the things that because you see, when you look at that, you see, I like when you said that. I mean, when you talk about we being the poorest people on earth, yes, you are right. You see, I mean, I'm not going to sit right here and that is true. Okay, that is an international insult on us. Accepted. That is the truth. We are the poorest and the most disadvantaged people on earth. Okay, even with our vast population and all the natural resources in Africa. Look at, 30,000 barrels of oil from just Chevron alone from Nigeria on daily basis. That is, I'm not talking about BP Shell. I'm not talking about ELF. You know, if you want to talk about the oil that leaves Nigeria in a day, you're talking close to 3 million barrels. Oil, go to Nigeria, oil blocks everywhere. But yet, an average Nigerian cannot afford to put gas in his car on a Friday and go like, hey, just like we do, go like, you know what, I'm going to Ibadan for a party, or take a taxi all the way, come on. Look at all the cocos, within cocoa in Edo State, all the way into Ghana, whatever. Yet, in Africa, how many low-income earners in Nigeria can afford to put a bar of chocolate in the lunchbox of their kid as they go to school? Not in Africa. But other nations where there is no cocoa, we have this luxury. Okay, uncultivated federal lands all over just Nigeria alone. Just travel from Lagos to Port Harcourt on the plane, or get on a bus from Port Harcourt all the way to the north. All those fertile uncultivated land. Yet we are still hungry in that country because we don't know what we have. We don't know ourselves. We don't know our history. When we get to know our history, okay?
I hear you.
Should I go on?
I hear you. I definitely hear you. Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah,
so,
but
you see,
I'm still on your case, and why am I on your case is, you say you're a media person, which you have exposure to, producing movie or writing or so on. And Nigeria is big on media. They are big on entertainment. They are big on movies, right? And the question I asked you about how we can take what you're trying to say and make it practical for a normal Nigerian. I'm not sure if I got the right answer that I need. So I'm just gonna connect. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna connect to what you do as a media person with the question. What do you think you can do as a media person, as a producer, as a writer, to help pass this message of knowing our history as Black people that can help us to come out of poverty? Because what you're saying is powerful. Because we know that we have problems. And one of the problems that we are facing today is poverty. And we are trying to get out of poverty. But there are some people that they are even so deep into this poverty that they have no idea how to even go about, how to even go out of this situation of poverty. And here you are, a producer, a writer in diaspora, telling us that if we know our history, we can go, or a poor African or Nigerian can go out of poverty. So How do you think you, as a producer, a writer, a media person, can help somebody to get this message and make it simple? How can you do that?
Okay, well, the thing is, when it comes, my days in media, I have not really been doing much of media work today. My life has been a roller coaster for some time now, and like what I'm doing now is I'm trying to actually maybe in the next few years just retire and sit in Nigeria and concentrate on real estate by providing a mobile home. But from what you just said to me, I still have this passion to get Nigerians and Africans to know our history and to be able to put before them that which we need to adhere to be able to build in Africa, to go take it or leave it. We either do it this way and become reliant to be able to have our own, to be able to have peace within our own continent and not go out there begging, or we are going to remain poor eternally. But like I said, the only way I could do that is to give, like I said to you, you just give me an idea, and I'm just thinking, I am going to start giving speeches in Africa. I'm gonna go to, I'm maybe like give a speech in Lagos,
Okay.
give a speech in Abuja,
Okay.
give a speech in Yaoundé, Cameroon,
Okay.
give a speech in Douala, Cameroon, give a speech in Accra, in Ghana. Okay, you see, I'm talking about well-packaged speech where I could, you see, Africans can get bored easily. Just keep it down to maybe like 1 hour or maybe 90 minutes max, where they can just sit down in the theater and listen to facts. Because here's the thing, this is the truth, okay?
Okay.
If we have to get out of poverty in Africa, okay, I have said this before, we need to know our history in a very comprehensive manner. In a very comprehensive manner. And that's what I'm talking about. I can deliver the speech in a way that I could come down to that level and make them comprehend this, okay? When we do that, then when we know our history, okay? This is very important. We know our history, then we no longer fall victims of the same situation, of the same situations, okay?
Okay.
Of the past. Because because we will always, as you see, the good thing about history is when you have history in mind, okay, you will always look back as you move on. And that will help you avoid your past catastrophic mistakes. And with that, with history in mind, you will now have the wisdom to now sow again on the ground known fertile to you. Okay? Then when we know our history, we will then be adherent, okay, to the policies and doctrines of our forefathers. That is what in Nigeria, okay? You have all this OPC, Biafra, and Biafra, Arewa, going on because they don't know the history. So they are not looking at the foundations laid by Satafa Barra Abubakar, Ahmadu Bello, Dr. Onamdi Azikiwe, and Chief Obafemi Awolowo. They are not looking at this because they don't know the history. When we know our history, then we will look up to that green, white, green flag, okay? And then we will now actually want to know the real meaning of our national anthem and our pledge, okay? How many people, you went to primary school in Nigeria, right?
Right.
Right? And every morning, did you say your pledge on the assembly ground before going to your classroom?
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I did.
That is very important. But now, what does it say? I pledge to Nigeria my history, right? I pledge to Nigeria my country to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend her unity and uphold her honor and glory. So help me God. And then you get over and you go like, no, I am a Biafran. I am an Arewa. You took an oath. Why are they doing that? Because they're looking back. They go like, let's burn Nigeria to the ground. Do you remember when you were in your elementary school when you said to defend her honor and glory? History, you know? And then when you see, I'm getting a little, I'm sorry, I'm getting upset. I'm getting upset. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
But yeah, because you see, when I think about see, we can solve Nigerian problem by looking deep into history to go, we don't want what happened in January 1966 to ever happen again. How many people even know about that coup and what it cost? And the trauma of that country, they don't even know. They are still shouting there, let's burn Nigeria to the ground. How many people know what happened in July of 1967 during the counter coup when we lost all those people? All the war. You see, if we don't look into history, all this will still be going on. History to people, you don't have to go to college or university. We can start giving speeches across, okay?
Right.
Let them, yeah, when they get to know this history in depth, and then they start loving themselves, and then they start unite. When I say unite, when I say Africans unite, I'm not saying let's unite and fight. That's not what I'm saying. When we unite, then we can put our differences aside and build a nation. If we don't unite, we keep destroying the nation. It's like, Obasanjo said in his book, he goes like, no matter what our differences are, okay, let us not take up arms against each other. But how will they even know? How many Nigerians even know Obasanjo said this? Like you said, they don't want to read. It doesn't matter. When you, teach Nigerians, like before you go to bed, okay, even if it is only 2 chapters you can read in a book that has to do with empowering you.
Right.
Only 2 chapters, really, but so like I said, yes, I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to go from country to country in West Africa, and I'm going to start giving speeches on this history thing.
Awesome.
It is very important here. We have to wake up because things are happening. We don't know our history. So when you don't know your history, when you have Ebola, you don't even know the source of the Ebola. You go like, oh, Ebola. Yes. How did it break out? You are not thinking, you're not looking at history, so it's going to happen again.
Awesome.
A lot of things, like I said, history is a very, very powerful thing. See, when you know yourself, I cannot manipulate you.
Right.
But if you don't know yourself, I can manipulate you.
Absolutely.
I can go like, hey, come on, sister B, one thing, hey, come on, you are not that, come on, you are not that, come on, you are not just, one thing, I could just marry you and just, leave you at home, just drop it there as a helper or whatever. And because you don't know yourself, you're going to go, it's okay, baby. But if you know yourself, you will say to me, who the hell do you think you are? How dare you talk to me like that?
Right.
That's
Tony, you
yeah,
have
made
your point. You have made your point, and I'm sorry, we're running out of time actually. And
okay.
Before we go, I would like you to tell us about your book. I know you have, is it books or book that you've written?
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Talking about talking about my books.
You can just give us the title of the book. So
yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna run out through that quickly. Okay. Well. I've written numerous books. Between 2006 and 2017. My last book was last year, and I wrote Queen Amina in 2010. And Queen Amina is about an extraordinary African female warrior who remains relatively unknown outside West Africa. But if you look at the story, you know that she was renowned for being more capable than any man, okay, in the North, you know, you know, and made significant political contribution to the building of an African nation. You know, she was the one that actually expanded the boundary of the Arawa kingdom. You know, the house is it how I mean a house of Bok or whatever. You know,
Right.
all the way towards the Niger area. You
So the
know, but
title of
although
the
she was
book,
the time,
the title, just for our
sorry,
viewers, the title of the book is Queen Amina,
Queen Amina,
and it's
yeah.
available on Amazon. For
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it's on Amazon, and I mean, they used to be on the bookshelf, but people still actually order for them in the bookstore, and they get delivered in paperback actually.
okay,
And then in 2014, I wrote a book titled Bendigo of Nottingham.
the can
This
you
is
repeat that?
actually yeah,
Can you repeat that title?
Bendigo of Nottingham.
Bendigo. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Nottingham is actually it's a part of the UK. It's actually in England.
All right.
They're not I mean Nottingham, Nottingham.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's I'm heading up north. It's about 130 miles away from London. Yeah. Well, Bending of Nottingham is actually it's actually a compelling novel that I wrote about one of the last great prize fighters. You know, it was actually inspired by true events that attracted crowds from all over England to prize fights. You know, between the year of 1825 and 1850. You
Okay.
know, and but the story rests mainly on a British man called William Abednego Thompson, you know, and then he actually existed, you know,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Sorry, you're shifting
he actually
again.
existed. I
You're
mean,
sh- you've
during the
shifted
Victorian
from the
era.
screen. You've shifted from the screen. We can't see you.
Oh, can you
Okay.
see me now? I have.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, I'll get a monitor next time. Sorry, can you see me now?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Three Wise Women. I wrote Three Wise Women I think it was published in 2015 or 2016. 2015, 2016, yeah. But Three Wise Women is another one that I wrote. I mean, I wrote it to actually bring to international awareness the embarrassing and unbearable condition
Mm.
both local and foreign women go through in most West African women's prison. You know, it's not a good man, you know, and it's actually I mean a fictionalized story. I mean it's a fiction actually of two British of oh, no, of yeah two British and one American female prisoner, Anita, Lisa, and Erica. Yeah. I mean, those two women were actually awaiting trial in one of Nigerian's women's prison in Lagos. So I just to make people, you know, just to bring that awareness to change things in women prisons in Nigeria. And then the Power Game is one that I love so much. And this Power Game was published in 2016. And it's about inside information on inglorious official cruelty committed by Nigerian high-ranking policy-making soldiers against their own fellow Nigerian soldiers. And this was during the time of the power game that led to a bloodbath in the 1980s in Nigeria and the 1990s. You know, when we had all those coups, you know, and but most of those facts have remained unknown to the outside world. And until a team of UK and US based journalists began playing a wild game, you know, I wrote the story in a way that they were researching three closed cases concerning the assassination of a local journalist. Have you heard of? Did you hear about anybody called Delegiwa in Nigeria?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
in
yeah,
total, Sonny, because we really have to go. In total, you have 3 books. Is that what you're saying, or 4?
now I 6 books mainly because my shame and
Six
my
books.
pain.
Wow.
Yeah, my shame and my pain is one that I want to that if I will recommend this to Africans to read if you want Africa to change politically. It's titled My Shame and My Pain: I wrote it in 2007 as a true son of
My
the
shame
soil.
and my
You know,
pain.
my shame and my pain. Yeah,
All right.
it's a book I wrote about about the political situation in Nigeria. You know, and how my heart beat consistently for the long unchecked failures of Nigerian political system in tackling the vast gap in social class. You know, I'm a social class that perpetually render the poor citizen to the bottom. You know, hopelessly hungry and angrily desperate.
Okay.
And it's a book that I mean, if you read that book, I wrote that book, you know, out of anger about the situation in Nigeria and how things have got to change. And in
Okay.
that book, yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sonny. We have to prepare the studio for DSA to come in 20 minutes, and we're really running
Okay.
out of time. So, dear viewers, thank you for being with us. You've heard it all from Sonny Achi. For those of you that were not able to get the title of his books, they are available on Amazon. I believe if you type Sonny Achi, the books will come up. So thank you very much. Thank you, Sonny, for joining us. It was a wonderful time with you, and looking forward to having you very soon. So thank you, viewers, and see you with DSA in 20 minutes. He is going to continue the series, How to Know God. Thank you, and bye-bye.